Absolutely. Here's the complete full-length audiobook script for Chapter 3. Do it bored, do it tired, do it anyway. Approximately 1,020 words, structured for 7 to 9 minutes of spoken narration with powerful pacing and tough love tone. Chapter 3. Do it bored, do it tired, do it anyway. Discipline isn't built when you're motivated. It's built when you're bored, when you're tired, when you've done the same thing 100 times and nobody's watching. That's where it's built. That's where it's tested. That's where most people quit. The mind craves comfort. It craves novelty. It wants excitement. It wants the rush, the reward, the dopamine. But discipline doesn't care about excitement. Discipline only cares about execution. That's the key. Anyone can work hard when it's new. Anyone can show up when it's exciting. But when the spark fades, when the routine feels heavy, when the work becomes boring, that's when the real ones rise. The average person says, "I'll wait until I feel it again." The disciplined person says, "I'll do it anyway." That's the difference. That's the separation between amateurs and professionals. You have a choice. You can chase feelings or you can chase progress, but you can't chase both. Think about soldiers in training. They don't ask how they feel before they march. They don't check if they're excited before the drill. They move on command. They act on standard. Because they know the mission matters more than their mood. The objective doesn't care about how they feel. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks if you showed up. That's the rule. That's the system. That's the code. The same truth applies to your life. You want to get fit? You'll have to train on days when you're exhausted. You'll have to push when the gym feels like the last place you want to be. Because discipline doesn't grow from the easy reps. It grows from the hard ones. When your body says stop and you keep going, that's when identity changes. That's when weakness turns to strength. You're not training your muscles. You're training your mind. The greatest athletes, soldiers, and performers all share one trait: consistency without emotion. They do the work whether they feel like it or not. They repeat the same drills every single day, not because they're fun, but because they work. That's what mastery is. Repetition without excitement. Repetition without applause. Repetition without emotion. That's how you build identity. That's how you build reliability. You want to know why people fail? Because they quit when it's boring. They stop when it's repetitive. They assume boredom means they're doing something wrong, when it actually means they're doing something right. You have to rewire your relationship with boredom. Boredom isn't the enemy. It's the signal that consistency is working. When the mind says, "This again?" you respond, "Yes, this again, because this builds me." Repetition isn't punishment. It's preparation. You're not stuck. You're building stability. You're creating strength through monotony. Let me give you the truth no one tells you. The disciplined life is not glamorous. It's quiet, it's repetitive, it's unexciting. You'll wake up early and feel nothing. You'll do the work and see no immediate reward. You'll grind day after day and wonder if it's worth it. It is. Because every boring day compounds. Every dull rep builds identity. Every tired effort pushes you further away from who you were and closer to who you're becoming. That's how transformation happens, not through motivation, but through repetition. You have to learn to work without excitement. You have to learn to act without applause. You have to learn to perform without reward. That's discipline. Motivation is momentary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation wants feeling. Discipline wants follow-through. Motivation says, "I feel good, so I'll act." Discipline says, "I'll act and I'll feel good after." That's the inversion. That's the key. When you're tired, you move slower. When you're bored, you doubt. When you're drained, you question why you started. That's the moment that matters most. That's where 99% stop, and where 1% are forged. Because discipline isn't about doing it once. It's about doing it forever, even when it's dull, even when it's draining, even when it's invisible. You have a choice. You can do it when it's convenient, or you can do it when it counts. And it always counts most when it's hardest. Here's how you build that mindset. 1. Detach from emotion. When you wake up tired or bored, remind yourself the mission didn't change. Your emotions don't get a vote. The job remains. 2. Commit to repetition. Boredom is proof of consistency. The same reps, the same actions, that's the groundwork for greatness. 3. Reward the process, not the feeling. Stop chasing the rush. Start chasing the routine. Every time you do it bored, you strengthen your discipline muscle. That's the method. That's how you become unstoppable. The truth is simple. Your brain will never crave repetition. It will always crave variety, distraction, stimulation. But discipline isn't built in variety. It's built in monotony. It's built in doing the same things when the novelty wears off. When you repeat something long enough, it becomes identity. And once it's identity, it no longer requires emotion. It's automatic. That's where freedom lives. So the next time you feel bored, smile. That's your signal. That's the test. That's where everyone else turns back. You'll keep moving. You'll do it bored. You'll do it tired. You'll do it anyway. Because that's what the disciplined do. They act independent of emotion. They move independent of mood. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks if you showed up. Say it again. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks if you showed up. Boredom is not the enemy. Fatigue is not the end. They're both gateways, entry points to a higher level of control. When you master boredom, you master consistency. When you master fatigue, you master endurance. And when you master both, you become unstoppable. Because nothing, not mood, not motivation, not excitement, controls you anymore. You've learned to act in silence. You've learned to move in monotony. You've learned to show up regardless. That's what makes you rare. You've now built the foundation, the ability to act without feeling. You've learned that boredom and fatigue are not barriers. They're training partners. Now it's time to turn that repetition into power. Because repetition creates results, and results create respect. You've done it tired. You've done it bored. Now let's talk about how to weaponize that repetition into mastery. Chapter 4. The Power of Repetition Over Inspiration. End of Chapter 3. Approximately 1,030 words. Would you like me to proceed and write Chapter 4, The Power of Repetition, next, continuing the same audiobook rhythm and tone?